Welcome to the Cyber Business Podcast, where we feature top founders and entrepreneurs and share their inspiring stories. Now, let's get started with the show.
Matthew Connor here, host of the Cyber Business Podcast, where we feature successful business leaders, top law firms, green energy companies, and more. Today, we are joined by a DJ turned entrepreneur and tech pioneer, a man with 20 platinum records and 40 gold records. He's developed technology at Facebook, Samsung, and Airbnb. He's the CEO and founder of Telzio, Peter Schroeder. Peter, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Fun to be here.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming on. Before we get too far in, a quick word from our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by cyberlinks.com. That's cyberlynx.com. Cyberlinks is a complete technology solution provider that ensures your business not only has the most reliable and professional IT service, but also has the right cybersecurity solution to ensure your business stays safe and productive. For more information, check out cyberlinks.com. That's cyberlynx.com. And now back to our show. All right. Peter, so glad you could join us today. I have so many questions for you. Hope you're ready.
I'm ready. Shoot.
Okay. Well, first, for those people who aren't familiar, let's just jump. I want to jump right into Telzio because for me, I think it's a great product and offering. So if you could tell the good folks all about Telzio.
All about it. Okay.
All about it.
Well, so this is the worst part because I'm actually really bad at this elevator pitch thing. You know, you should think you would be better after 10 years, but I'm still struggling with this thing because there's so many things I want to talk about. There's so many things you can do, right? Well, so Telzio is really, if you boil it down, it's a phone service provider. We do business communications, so business to business phone service, really, and everything that entails. We built a platform from ground up ourselves and build something that's better than the other guys, that more reliable, sounds better, easier to use, and then we have a much different business model really when it comes to pricing and those kind of things. But really, yeah, it's a phone service provider.
So I love that, and so at Cyberlinks we're actually a Citricom partner, I suppose you'd say. We help our clients implement Citricom, and when I saw Telzio, I was like, geez, I mean, the price difference is massive, and the offering seems incredibly similar. I mean, you're probably a fourth to an eighth, maybe in some cases a tenth of what our clients would be paying, using Telzio. Mm-hmm. So that's a pretty compelling offer. How is it that you're able to do such competitive pricing?
Well, There's a couple of reasons. The main reason is really because we built it ourselves. So we literally built the entire platform from ground up. We spent 10 years doing it now. And we are very much product first. So we've always been about let's just build a cool product and then sales will probably come. And it did, right? Took some time because we bootstrapped it and we didn't go VC it all and all, but we have been very much focused on just building a really cool product that our customers like. And because we did everything from ground and we don't pay licenses to some vendors that are, building these big backend systems and the PBXs that the other guys do, we can do it cheaper and more efficiently. That's really the main thing.
That's brilliant because you do see a lot of that. I mean, everybody's basically, and we've tried a lot of different systems. You can tell the core is the same, and then they put on a little, different front end just a little bit, but yeah, you can tell they're all using basically the same. Oh, well, that makes a lot of sense. So yours is way cheaper because you're not paying whoever it is that built that core.
Yeah, exactly. And there's some other advantages, of course, that we are fully in charge. So we don't have to wait for someone else to build a new feature when things are moving. For example, stuff with AI and these things that are happening right now. And we are fully in charge of fixing things. So that means that we are, we're responsible for when things go down, and we're also able to fix it when things go down, so we don't go down. Last time we had downtime was in 2016 or 17 or something like that, and for like 5 minutes, because we just, we are able to do it ourselves. We are 100% in control, and that also means we can innovate faster. So there's a lot of advantages from doing it, but it's, it also is a bigger investment. It's a longer road to take. So it's it's just a choice we made from the beginning, and hey, we want to do it ourselves.
Love it. Okay, well, besides the very impressive uptime, because that's nobody experiences that. I mean, everybody's got downtime, and you kind of grow to expect it because it's been the norm forever. So that okay, I'm looking forward to diving into that and kind of experiencing that myself. But let me ask you, we love founder stories. So you already kind of hinted at you didn't do VC, you bootstrapped it. Can you give us the story? What happened? How did this all take place?
Oh, well, so I was in the music industry for a long time, like you mentioned in the beginning there, and I was actually building. Had another project. I had this idea for a platform where DJs and producers and songwriters, they can like promote their music directly to radio stations and other DJs and kind of swap music before it gets released and try it out and these things. I was working on that and it was cool. I needed like a phone service or like some kind of hotline people could call in for support. Press 1 for this, press 2 for that. And there wasn't anything out of the box that was just like that I could afford, at least that was just easy to set up. So I built it myself, and as I was doing that, I was like, this is kind of it's cumbersome to have to sit and code every time I need to make a change. So I built a little UI for it, so I could drag and drop these changes and just make it easy for myself, and it was fun to work with. So at that time, I was just like, well, let's try and put it out. Let's see if it sticks, and people started signing up. Not a lot of features in the beginning, but because people signed up and they gave feedback and came with ideas to what we should add next. That's over the years the product has kind of just kept growing and evolving, and as we do that, we appeal to larger customers that then have some new ideas and suggestions, and it's just kind of been one big snowball, really.
Wow. Okay. I mean, I love that because all too often somebody's got the idea, but they don't have the the technical know-how. I started programming when I was 12 for the family business, so I'm totally appreciate all the effort that goes into that. I love how on the movies they make it look like hacking into the mainframe.
You're flying through a 3D.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. You just throw on your headphones. 2 hours later, you've got finished product. Sure. Yep. That's how it works for me. But in any event, I love that you're able to do that. But let's go to how did you go from like basically you did your first coding, and then what was how did you get that first employee? How did growing, because from where you were then to where you are now, a lot of people kind of gloss over that, but I think that's kind of the fun, interesting part, the struggle of, well, we had $0 and we made $0 for a long time, and then it started trickling, whatever it is. But I think the fun part is in the how did you really do it, because people tend to gloss over it, and I think that leads too many kind of aspiring entrepreneurs to think, oh, hey, it should just kind of magically work and it shouldn't be a struggle, but it's almost always a grind. Tell us about your grind. What was it? How did you go from that idea?
Yeah, so dude, it's spot on what you're saying. It's a grind, and we had no money. So I started the company with my wife. We had just met each other at that time. She knows business. I know code. I'm creative, and she's very strategic about these things. So we're like, okay, let's try and put it out. So we actually, because we didn't have any money at all, we literally like paycheck to paycheck, and she cashed in her 401k. That's the funding we got. So yeah, that's really how we got started. And then for the first maybe 2 years, I was still taking contracting job as a coder, a DJ job here and there. I had burned out DJing at that point when we started, so that was also kind of what led into to me doing something else than music. But we really just needed a few customers, and they came, and I think if you look back at our balance sheets, I think in the first couple of months we made like $150 or something like that, right? And then a little bit more, and the first year I think we ended up at $1,500, and then the next year $5,000. It's not a lot, and we were like, okay, we need to go find VCs. We need to get all the Silicon Valley money, all the internet money, right? We thought we needed to do that because hey, we that's what everyone else does. At least that's what you hear, and that's the only thing you hear. You don't hear about the other stories, right? And you also don't hear when it fails, when you get the VC money. So we tried to do that, and we were why is no one investing in us? If I look back today, I know why. We were brand new. We hadn't run a company like that before, and we hadn't, we didn't have that track record that the people that go raise this money, like $100 million, have. And at the same time, they do that for a living. They don't do what we do. We build a product. Right. They just raise money. So it's a very, very different game we thought we needed to be part of in the beginning. And it was frustrating not to be part of it, not getting that money. And I think at some point we got our first offer for investments was $250,000 for 50% of the company. And I'm so happy today that we didn't say yes to that. we definitely entertained it. Like we were very, very close to going that route. And at that point, $250,000 was a lot of money for us. It meant that we could hire a couple of people and so on. But, we ended up saying no to that. And after, I think maybe 2 or 3 years in, we actually were able to hire our first developer, and then maybe half a year later, the next one, and so on and so on. So I think it's spot on what you say. It's a misconception that people have, that they have to go raise money. It's easier if you do that, but it's not the only way, and it's very, very hard if you are a product person.
Oh, 100%. So, well, now looking at it, is your, what's your plan moving forward? Are you looking at, in terms of, say, an exit strategy? Is it, hey, look, I'd like to grow the business to this point and then sell? Or are you thinking, hey, I just want to, ride this wave as long and as far as it goes? What you're thinking at this point?
Well, we definitely have an exit strategy, and we are planning to. We are actually raising actively money for the first time ever after 10 years now. We're going, but now we have some partners that can actually help us do it. Yeah, we have a product. We have it's proven, and we have a lot of customers, and we. It's a pretty steady company in general. We've been growing very, very steadily, so it's a good investment, and we have some partners that's now raising money for us and helping us do that part. So and that's all essentially with an end goal, because we're not going to do this forever. It's not like it's not a lifestyle business. We have, I get at least 5 new ideas every day of things I want to build. The good thing though is that something like Telzio, business communications, there's always something new. It stays fun, right? So there's always something you can build. It's not like it's if you stop developing new things, then you should just close the business because you're going to be out of a job in a couple of years anyways. Yeah.
100%. So then your thinking is, you'll get to a certain level, kind of have your own personal exit, and then start building. Now you'll have kind of a war chest of cash to fund all these new ideas. Is that the?
It's definitely going to be easier the second time. There's no doubt. There's less of the string.
$0. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And you know what? The interesting thing is you have. Over the years, you build up a team of people, and hopefully some of those people will follow you to whatever you do next. Because that's really the hardest part for me is finding the right people.
Oh, 100%. And I think all too often people think that, you got to be self-made and do everything on your own. And the reality, you simply can't. And when you start, like you coded it yourself, you went through that very, very difficult struggle of doing everything on your own. But man, success comes with a team. If it always stayed just you, there'd be no success ultimately.
Correct. You
cannot do everything. And so finding those right people and growing, and now your next venture is going to be so much easier with money and people. Are you kidding me?
But you know what? I think a lot of entrepreneurs really have a hard time with the letting go and letting other people do their job. One thing is, finding the right people. So there's someone that you trust doing it. That's a big part of it, I think. But you can't do anything yourself. And that's hard for most entrepreneurs to realize that. But once you realize that, that's when things start growing. And we have some amazing people on our team now. And I can actually, draw some parallels to the music industry because being in that, I've worked with some really big artists, solo artists, and really big names that, they are all very, very nice people. And the reason for that, well, I wouldn't say the reason for why they're nice people, but you can't get big in the music industry alone. There's no way. Like, you need a team behind you, and no one's going to get behind you if you're an asshole. That's just what it is. So, it's the same thing with business. You need a team. You can't get big alone, and you just need to let go, and that's hard.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, especially when it was your baby, you started it, but then you just have to. You've got to hire good people that you can trust to do good work and let them do their thing, right? Empower them to grow and do what they need to do. So
and make sure they stay on.
Right. Yep. 100%. So let me ask you, in terms of kind of building up your team there, where do you fall? Now that you're a little larger than that one person shop now. What's your stance on the kind of coming into the office versus working from home? How do you guys manage that? What's your stance?
I was definitely in the beginning against it. I'm very social. I like being around my colleagues. I like having a beer and playing video games with the people in the office. And it's hard to do when you're distributed, like when you're all over the world. But then COVID happened, and we need to do it, and we started hiring a bunch of people remotely, and that was a catastrophe, and we had to fire almost all of them again because we just didn't know how to do that, because that's a very different game, hiring remote people. That's something we had to learn. Now we've gotten better at it, and now we're actually mostly distributed. We actually just moved into a new office over this past weekend that's much smaller than the one we had before, because we don't really have many people left in the office. Everyone is, all over the US, in Europe, Denmark, England, Serbia, Romania, and then the Philippines and Thailand, and all over the world is the team now. So we've gotten a lot better at it, but it's something you have to learn, and you really need to, again, find the right people to be able to do that. Not everyone can work from home.
Yeah, no, I'm much the same like you. I much prefer the social interaction. I find it really difficult, but in our industry, I've got a lot of colleagues who run similar businesses, and they're big into having all of their employees come in, and they have the hardest time retaining people. And I'm like, well, obviously, we're here to help people work however they need to work. And you're telling me that your own people have to come into the office when they know they're doing everything remotely anyway. So it really becomes a control thing and letting go and trusting. Yeah. But to your point, I do find that the camaraderie, that's a tough one to replace. It's not the same. But you know what?
That depends on the people again, because we have hired some people now that are just as much on Slack, part of the group, like from day one. They are just, they're pitching it. So it's very much up to the person. Do you pitch in? Are you posting a meme or commenting on whatever someone else posts? And if you're part of that, then you can definitely create that camaraderie, even if you've never met. But not everybody is able to do that.
100%. No, I love that. Okay, so you mentioned Denmark. So you're from Copenhagen, right?
From Aalborg, but lived in Copenhagen for a good amount of years before I moved here. Yeah.
Very nice. We were just there in over Thanksgiving. We went to Noma, which was great. We loved it.
You had some ants.
Yeah, in fact, it was reindeer because it was winter, and it was literally every part of the reindeer. Yep. From brain to penis, I was like, really?
Okay. They definitely challenge you.
I don't know how you made that taste so good, but good for you. You're really just showing off. Really,
they are.
Look what I can do with a brain. Like, I'm not sure we're supposed to be eating that.
No, but it tastes great.
Yeah, it was wild. No, Copenhagen. The funny part was, I think Copenhagen, in all our travels, it was the one place where we were all like, I could live here.
Yeah.
And it was so quiet. Like the whole city was quiet. It could have been it was quieter than I'd say a small town in the US, because the road noise alone is just louder, even in a small town, than it was in, the hustling, bustling Copenhagen. Tons of people, super quiet. It was wild.
So. Yeah, no, but they're also actually trying to keep cars out of the city because the streets are so small. There's not really room for a lot of cars in there. But Denmark also, tax the cars are high, and then they crazy charges for parking and stuff like that. So to basically prevent people from taking their cars into the city. And it works really well because they've been really good at buses leave every 2 or 3 minutes, and the metro the same thing, 2 or 3 minutes between each. So you just go there and jump on one, and you're just way faster. And then people bike, so
biking everywhere. Yeah, it was great. And then the cars that we did see, they were all electric. So I don't think we saw. Maybe we saw a gas. Maybe even the trucks seemed somehow to be quieter, or maybe they just didn't notice because everything else was. I don't know. But Copenhagen was great. Totally loved that. Now I got to ask you, the first day we were there, we were staying on this hotel right on the canal, and I open up the window, and there are all these people skinny dipping. It's so cold. I mean, it's like just above freezing, and all these people are skinny dipping. And so I was like, when in Rome. Yeah, Justin and the family joined me. I was like, "Oh man, this is
awesome!"
So I go down there. Totally loved it.
Isn't it amazing, right?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it feels good.
Oh, so good, and it was just wild. So I got to ask you. So you're do you do when in Rome? Are you
I'm not regularly like some people do it every single morning at 6 a.m. They will go out and bring a shovel or something and try to break a hole in the ice and actually do it, but I'm not that extreme. But I've done it several times or many times, and I like it. It's that rush you get, that adrenaline when you jump into ice water. It's amazing. It feels great.
Yeah, no, it was funny because we went. It was our last night there, and in the hotel there was this a bunch of lawyers having a Christmas party. And I wish I should have looked up the name of the band. I wasn't even expecting to talk to you about this, but the guy who was singing, so we got invited into this party. We met him at the bar, and they're like, "Oh, come here, you got to join us party." So we go to their party, and it's just crazy. The guy who was there, he was like this biggest, guy. Like 10 years ago, he was a big deal. Huh. I gotta look it up. I might have a video of it. And everybody was like losing their mind because, he was like this kind of one-hit wonder 10 years ago. And he was huge guy all throughout Denmark and stuff. Huh. And it was just the craziest party. All these lawyers were just getting smashed. People like losing their minds. They're singing in English and German and, just all these different languages. And everybody's like, it was crazy. And
yes, so you said around Thanksgiving, right? So you hit the time of what we call julefrokost. It's a Christmas party, but it's off the hook, and it's people get trashed.
It was nuts. There were so many bottles of Macallan just like empty all over the place. I'm like, these are my kind of people, and they were just losing it. And then, but I'll tell you, even despite all the crazy drinking up until like 4 o'clock in the morning, you jump in the canal and poof, your whole body. It's like the adrenaline pushes.
It's super healthy for you too. It's really good. Yeah. It's good for you.
Yeah, I love that place. It was really fun. We were like, so many really cool little restaurants, so much fun stuff in Copenhagen. We were like, yeah, we could spend some time here.
Yeah, no, I love that city too, and my wife does too. She's from California, and we just had twin babies a year and a half ago, and she's talking a lot about wanting to move to Denmark before they start school because everything is just a tad bit. I mean, it's like a little utopia that we got going over there, and it might be good for them to learn that language and the culture. The culture is very different, but at the same time very similar in so many ways. So. There's just some values that she and I would like to for our children to have for sure.
Oh, I can see it. I mean, I think it's, like I said, one of perhaps the only place where and I guess that's why it was so relaxing and welcoming. The people are so friendly. Mm-hmm. I mean, they were just so great. Everywhere we went, everybody we met, they were just great. So I think you're right. It's just this nice little utopia. It worked. And now with the internet and everything, everybody, I mean, people from all over the world come there. They're, everybody seems to be working and they have, they're developing something on the side. I can't tell you how many developers we met, they're working here, but then they're developing this on the side. And so,
I mean, Microsoft, Uber, and a few other big companies all have their biggest development centers in Denmark. So we have over good couple of decades now, invested a lot in making sure that Denmark is one of the leaders in IT, and that has really worked. So there's no doubt that even though there's only 5 million people, it's starting to work really well over there. Yeah.
Oh, super! I mean, it's just so clean, so nice. The education's there, the money's there, the technology's there. That's a tough one to beat. So you compare that to LA, and I'm like, oh, yeah, you'll be moving there.
Yeah,
I can see it. Yeah. Well, now let me ask you. So this is going to tie back into the business. For your hosting your servers and everything, are you guys are you on AWS? Do you have like a local data center? What are you doing there?
Both. We have most things are AWS. And then we are experimenting a little bit with rolling out small PUBs, as we call them, points of presence, all over America, just to make sure that we are as close to our users as possible to get the best quality. I mean, at this point, it's really the internet is really fast, and it's not really required. I mean, we do a round trip. When I make a phone call to our office in Copenhagen, there's less than 200 milliseconds from the round trip going there and coming back to me for the sound, which you can't hear. Like, you can't hear that latency. So there's not really a need to start doing that kind of stuff. But at this point, it's just more of an obsession and a game for us to see how optimal can we do everything,
Yeah. I love that. Well, and then, so you've got an office in Copenhagen as well. So yeah. Okay. You're definitely moving. You're like, why are we still in LA, baby? You sure
Yeah. We started expanding there, and when we actually already bought a place in Denmark to have a place to go on vacation, to make sure that we, have what do you call it, like a base, and we try to go there as much as we can already. We already been there once with our kids when they were 1 year old for Christmas. So, yeah,
love it. Okay, well, this being the Cyber Business Podcast, we've done a lot of business, a lot of cyber on this one. I'd say a lot more than most. But let me ask you, in terms of cybersecurity with voice over IP, walk me through that. What do you guys do there? What's the concern? How's
everything
that work for you guys?
Everything is a concern.
Mm-hmm.
We are. That's really one of the main things that I focus on. One of my roles is to make sure that the security is there. And as a developer, I spent actually like probably 80% of my time still coding. I try to do that. That's what that's my happy place, and I really hate managing stuff. So as much as I am probably the CEO and founder, it's really more my wife running the company and me, running the system and the platform. We are very much engaged in everything cybersecurity. We of course do everything we can to follow all best practices and make sure that everything is secure. And we get hacked or attempt to hack constantly. We have, I mean, I won't even say how many attacks I can see on a monitor, that are happening at this moment. But so far we haven't gotten breached, and we're doing everything we can to prevent it. And right now we also working on getting certificates and audits for all the biggest frameworks as well. Is something we recently started focusing on, and it was actually incredibly easy to get to the point where we're ready, because we were already doing everything you were supposed to. We just never really saw it as security doesn't come with audits. Security comes with security, right? You gotta just do it. But of course, having an auditor verifying and being able to tell other people that what you say that you do is also what you do, that's really just more of a sales thing for us. It's not so much an accountability thing, because we are very accountable already. But that's something that we started kind of getting into recently, and finally almost about to be releasing our first reports.
Nice. Yeah, I think a lot of people fail to appreciate the difficulty and challenge when you're doing something like a voice over IP platform. You've got multiple, unlike a normal business. Let's say just let's say a medical practice, right? They've got to secure their end users because that's a way into the data. But you have a platform It's able to be approached in multiple different places, and you've got users, so you've got it on all fronts. Whereas most businesses really only have it from the end user, perspective. So there's that attack surface is much smaller for most businesses than for somebody like you. So it's
yeah, and you know what, you're spot on, because there's so many angles as well. One is really, we host some very sensitive data. I mean, we host our records of our customers' calls when they use call recording. We host their text messages, their voicemails, their faxes, and you wouldn't even believe how many medical offices still fax patient records around, and we have to make sure that's secure. So that's one aspect, and then there's the whole other aspect of telecom fraud, because there's so much money to be made if you can hack a VoIP platform. There's so many different schemes. And we see new ones popping up all the time, and they're very creative. I got to say that. And so there's so many different angles we have to constantly be aware of and block and keep up to date. Really.
Yeah, no, it's tough. And then with the fraud, I mean, it'd be great if somebody was able to figure out how to stop, but I don't know that you really can. There's just so much telecom fraud that goes on. And I don't know how you police it. There's no clear, obvious solution. It's just, little steps, I guess. But I
would say one of the big steps that have been released recently, or actually starting to come to fruition, is Stir Shaken, which is a new way of signing phone calls the same way as you would sign an HTTP request on a website with an SSL certificate. You essentially do that with phone calls now, where the range holder of the phone number, so let's say that it's Telzio that has a pool of phone numbers, we send the call out to another carrier, and they'll be able to see along with that phone call, because it's digital, it's VoIP, all between the carriers as well today. We can send an attestation as basically a signed certificate along with the phone call, and they can verify that the call is coming from us, and we are the ones that are allowed to use that number. So spoofing phone numbers has gotten a lot harder over the past maybe 2 years.
Huh. Oh, that's brilliant. I mean, really, why not, right? We do it now with domains. Why not with phone calls?
Yeah. And
it's funny because I think with AI, the way that it's progressing with the deep fakes, I think the future is going to come down to identity management and verification. I don't know how that's going to play out exactly, but I know it's going to be a huge issue to say, hey, this is indeed me, and it can't be kind of deep faked, the voice, the everything. So I think phone is going to tie into that at some, as well.
Oh, yeah.
To say, oh, when this phone call comes from my phone number, it's indeed me. And, a way of verifying all of that the actual voice is, that the image is, their email is, so.
But not exactly. Not just phone calls. And this is actually something that we've been working on a lot over the past year or two. We have a new product that we're hopefully soon going to release, which is essentially what you're talking about, an identity, a token of yourself. Because imagine that there's actually a lot of business sides to it. Imagine that you have a business and you receive a phone call for someone. You note down the number and the name, and then next time they call, oh, that's that guy calling again. So let's say that guy sends you an email, or they text you, or they WhatsApp you, or they Instagram direct message you, or they tweet at you, or they write a comment on Yelp, or all these different angles that we have that people can communicate with you, that you have to be available at now. You can't just have a phone number anymore as a business. You need to also know that that's the same person, and so you have a record of that person's communications with you, and that's one of the things that we've been working on solving, and that really just ties into the same issue with identity. You need to have some kind of central token that is you, and then you need to be able to allow someone to know the different methods that you use without leaking that information as well. You don't want them to just say, oh, I just want all his information. But you need to be able to say, okay, I get a phone call and a text message and an email, and I somehow can relate that to the same person without knowing that information in advance. That's a thing that we've been working on, and it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
What now, is that a Telzio thing, or is that one of your new offshoots that you're excited to to start working on?
No, it's both. It is something we're building with Telzio. The thing, though, for something like that to be adopted by everyone, it can't be Telzio. So it has to be open source. It has to be a separate thing that has business advantage for everyone and personal advantage for everyone. So it's going to be its own product and company, and probably sponsored by Telzio or something like that. But it's not going to be a Telzio thing. It can't.
Yeah, no, I love it. And that's one of those things where you've got to get the Googles and the Microsofts and the Facebooks and all the big players involved to say, this is a great idea. We'll adopt this, like you name it.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, tell you what, we are going to, when we get off of this show here, we're definitely going to sign up and try out Telzio, see if we can't bring it to our clients. But before we do, can you tell everybody where they can find out more about you and about Telzio?
Yeah, Telzio, that's easy. Telzio.com, TELZ as in zebra, IO.com. Just go and press the sign up button. There's a trial, and you can literally be up and running in 5 minutes and try it out. And it's fun. It's fun to play around with. It's drag and drop, very easy, but also very creative. It's actually really flexible. So if you're a little bit into tech, go play around with it. Try it, have fun. And for myself, peterschroeder.com. There's just a little bunch of links to my social media and my email and all that stuff. That's the easiest. I'm available everywhere. Just reach out if there's anything I can help with.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Peter. It's been great having you on.
Thank you so much for having me. That was fun.
Thanks for listening to the Cyber Business Podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.